up her spine as the blade hit a rock, a big one. She repositioned the blade, but even when she attacked the rock at different angles, she could not pry it loose. Demoralized and sweating in the heat, she stared down at the hole. All morning she had been digging like a woman possessed, and beneath her leather gloves blisters were peeled open. Julia's digging had stirred up a cloud of mosquitoes that whined around her face and infiltrated her hair. There was no way around it. If she wanted to plant a garden in this spot, if she wanted to transform this weed-choked yard, she had to keep at it. This rock was in her way. Suddenly, the task seemed hopeless, beyond her puny efforts. She dropped the shovel and slumped to the ground, rump landing on the stony pile of dirt. Why had she ever thought she could restore this garden, salvage this house? She looked across the tangle of weeds and stared at the sagging porch, the weathered clapboards. Julia's Folly, that's what she should name the place, bought when she hadn't been thinking straight, when her life was collapsing. Why not add more flotsam to the wreckage? This was to be a consolation prize for surviving her divorce. At 38 years old, Julia would finally have a house in her own name, a house with a past, a soul. When she had first walked through the rooms with the real estate agent and had gazed at the hand-hewn beams, spied the bit of antique wallpaper peeking through a tear in the many layers that had since covered it, she'd known this house was special. And it had called to her, asking for her help. "The location's unbeatable," the agent had said. "It comes with nearly an acre of land, something you seldom find anymore this close to Boston." "Then why is it still for sale?" Julia had asked. "You can see what bad shape it's in. When we first got the listing, there were boxes and boxes of books and old papers stacked to the ceiling. It took a month for the heirs to haul it all away. Obviously, it needs bottom-up renovations right down to the foundation." "Well, I like the fact that it has an interesting past. It wouldn't put me off buying it." The agent hesitated. "There's another issue I should tell you about. Full disclosure." "What issue?" "The previous owner was a woman in her 90s, and, well, she died here. That makes some buyers a bit squeamish." "In her 90s? Of natural causes, then?" "That's the assumption." Julia had frowned. "They don't know?" "It was summertime, and it took almost 3 weeks before one of her relatives discovered." The agent's voice trailed off. Suddenly she brightened. "But, hey, the land alone is special. You could tear down this whole place, get rid of it, and start fresh." The way the world gets rid of old wives like me, Julia had thought. This splendid, dilapidated house and I both deserve better. The same afternoon, Julia had signed the purchase agreement. Now, as she slumped on the mound of dirt, slapping at mosquitoes, she thought, what did I get myself into? If Richard ever saw this wreck, it would only confirm what he already thought of her. Gullible Julia, putty in a realtor's hands, proud owner of a junk heap. She swiped a hand over her eyes, smearing sweat across her cheek. Then she looked down at the hole again. How could she possibly expect to get her life in order when she couldn't even summon the strength to move one stupid rock? She picked up a trowel and, leaning into the hole, began to scrape away dirt. More of the rock emerged, like an iceberg's tip whose hidden bulk she could only guess at, maybe big enough to sink the Titanic. She kept digging, deeper and deeper, heedless of the mosquitoes and the sun glaring on her bare head. Suddenly, the rock symbolized every obstacle, every challenge that she'd ever wobbled away from. "I will not let you defeat me." With the trowel, she hacked at the soil beneath the rock, trying to free up enough space to pry the shovel underneath it. Her hair slid into her face, strands clinging to sweaty skin as she reached deeper into the hole, scraping, tunneling. Before Richard saw this place, she'd turn it into a paradise. She had 2 months before she'd have to face another classroom of third graders. 2 months to uproot these weeds, nourish the soil, put in roses. Richard had told her that if she ever planted roses in their Brookline yard, they'd die on her. "You need to know what you're doing," he'd said.